morning. We're going to do a training on listings. So I'm going to go over how to create a listing in SkySlope. Your website is skyslope.com. Your login and password is assigned to you by SkySlope. So your office manager should be able to send a reset password if you need, or the welcome email as well. Make sure you contact them directly. All right, so to get started for listing, you should see a page that looks like this. You're going to look for, let me get my drawings here. It'll say create listing. So if you just creating it, this is the tab you're going to go into. If you've already created a listing and you need to get back into it, then you're going to click on listings. Your listings are different than your transactions. Transactions are for buy side only. So what happens with that is when you have an accepted purchase contract for your listing, then it will be pushed over to transaction side. So it's a little bit of a process when it comes to the listings, but it's done for a reason, to make sure that it's nice and clean and keeps it all separate in the system. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click on create listing. It's going to say property address. So it's a Google search, so you can type in an address and select it from the drop down, or you can type in a manual property address. Maybe it's a brand new build and it's just not in Google search yet. So I'm going to do 1245. We'll do test drive. Put in the zip, it will put in the city, state, and county for you. I'm going to go ahead and click on let's go. We're going to go to the next stage. Right here, it's really important to decide which type of transaction you're dealing with. Listing you're dealing with. So if it's a rental, you would select this. If it's lot or land listing, that's the one you're going to select there. Same with commercial lease and commercial sale. I'm going to go ahead and choose NV listing. This is for residentials. I'm going to go ahead and click on next. How much is the property listed for? Let's say $350,000. Click on the next question. Listing commission, is it 3% on each side? If it's a flat rate, you're just going to click on this little tab here and put in the actual dollar amount instead of the percentage. If you have co-agents that are working with you, you would add them here. If not, you're just going to go ahead and click on next question. Up here in the listing date, choose the date of your listing. Remember, you have 48 hours to get your listing in SkySlope and to get your documents uploaded for your broker. So that means fully executed, your listing agreement, your duties owed, all of that should be in the SkySlope within 48 hours of your listing. Over here is your back button, by the way. Just a random thought there. Just if you ever have to go back through the process, this little arrow on the left will help you get through it there. Okay, expiration date. What's the expiration of your listing? Let's just say January 14th. I'm going to click on next question. What year was the property built? Let's just say 2017. Select the source of this lead. Was it farming, door knocking? Let's just say door knocking. Click on next question. Seller's first name, seller's last name. If it is a trust or a company, LLC, make sure you click on this. It says switch to company seller. Okay, and that's where that information would go. If you have an additional seller, you would add, click on this box here. It says add additional seller, and that's where you can add the second person. I'm going to go ahead and click on next question. This is going to give you an overview of what you just did. Just make sure it's right. If not, again, click on your back arrow over here in the top left. Click on create my listing. And this is what it looks like. Okay, so you've got your checklist here. These are your required documents that you have to provide your brokerage. If applicable, again, it is, so if there's a referral, then that would be required, of course. If there's a change order, or maybe you've changed the price or the expiration date, something like that on the listing, of course, that's going to be required. Keep that in mind, just because it's if applicable, it could be required depending on your particular transaction or listing. This is a great, this is a great tool right here, copy of trust. Because your seller is a trust, you should have the trust documents uploaded in here as well. So that would be required. Again, if it's an LLC, again, you need to make sure the articles are in there. The purpose of that is to make sure the proper person is signing. So they have to have the legal rights to be signing for this property. You can get in really big trouble if you're having people sign for documentations that are not legal to do so. So that protects you, okay? All right, so to get the documents into this section, there's a couple of ways to do it. You can click on the word attached right here on the right. So it says listing agreement. It's going to bring up another window. You're going to click on upload document. You're going to find the document. We just pick one, and you'll notice it's uploading down here at the bottom. And then it goes right into this particular checklist item. So you also can review it by clicking on the paperclip. It'll pull up the document so you'll see exactly what has been uploaded. You can attach more than one document. So if you attach another item over that document, I'm going to show you real quick. The paperclip will go away, but you still can review it. Oh, not the paperclip, the X, excuse me, the X does disappear. If you click on the paperclip here, you'll have an extra window. And these are the two documents that you just uploaded. If you needed to remove one, you just clearly click on the X and it will remove that. Okay. All right. The next way to get documents in here is a documents folder up here. Click on documents up here at the top. These are the documents that I uploaded into that checklist. But to actually just store documents and then assign them to a checklist item later, you can do that as well. There is a email right here that is assigned for this particular transaction. So it's really important that you pay attention to that. It's not by address, it is by transaction. If you wanted to send your documents to this particular transaction or listing, this is where you can send all of the documents. So I'm going to try and do that now so you can see what that looks like. Let me get rid of my drawings. All right, let me pull up. Sorry, let me go ahead and copy this. And there's just a quick tip. You can't hold down left click and go left. You'll have that little error message come up. If you go from the E for email and go right, hold down left click and go right, then you can copy it. You can also hit Control C or Command C, depending if you're on a Mac or a PC. Again, Control V will paste it, or right click and paste. All right, so this is the transaction email. You can also CC yourself if you wanted to, if that helps you to make sure you have copies as well. You also have the ability to have your clients send this straight to your transaction or your listing documentation. So it's a great way if you have a listing packet, maybe they're filling it out by hand instead of electronic signature. That's a great way as well. All right, so I'm going to say listing packet. Then I'm going to find all the documents that I want to pull into this particular listing. And I'm going to click on send. And then it's going to take a second for that to come over, but you'll notice here, this is where this is all going to be. We've got 2 documents at this time. Once it gets here, we'll have the other documents that I just selected. Okay, real quick, let's go over log. Right here in this log tab at the top, this is going to show you exactly what's happening throughout the process of this listing or transaction. So it'll tell you who, the date and the time, and it'll tell you exactly what's going on with this. Okay, you can also enter a note for this log if you wanted to. It stays with the transaction and listing for 7 years. So it's up to you if you choose to do that. You can email the log if you want to do that. You can print the log. These are great ways to keep track of everything that happened within this transaction or listing. It protects you as an agent as well in case you should ever have to go in front of division. Hopefully not. Let's knock on wood. But just keeps a nice clean log of this particular listing or transaction. Tasks. If you click on tasks, you can create tasks for this particular listing. You can click on new task. You can type in maybe you want to order HOA. You can do that. And you can put the due date on or before let's say acceptance date. In other words, that would be your purchase contract, okay? You don't have to do tasks if you don't want to. You're welcome to do that. It's up to you. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my documents tab real quick so you can see. Here's all the documents that I just emailed to myself. Okay. Also, when you do DigiSign, which is electronic signature, you can attach your documents to a property. This is exactly where they go as well. If you are attaching it to a property, this is where it ends up. Okay. All right. So there's a couple of options you can do. You can attach it straight from this document section. So let me just pick one. I'm going to click on the box to the left of the name of the document. Click on the word assign up here at the top. Click on this little search area and then it'll give you a drop down. So you can select this particular document checklist. I'm going to say it's the SRPD and click on assign. Now what it's going to do is show a paper clip. That means it is attached to an item in my checklist. Okay. So remember, your checklist has to be complete for you to move forward into accepting a purchase contract and moving it to a transaction side. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to my documents real quick here. I'm also going to show you how to split your documents. Let's say you have a full listing packet. It's got everything included, and you want to separate those. So you can do that by clicking on the word split over here on the right. You're going to notice all your documents that will be here. So again, if you have a RDG plus so that's your residential disclosure guide, you've got maybe your wire fraud, you've got your listing agreement, you've got everything in here. You can separate it all. Over here on the left-hand side, this is where you would name your document. So if you have a duties owed in this little mix, you can start typing duties and it will bring up the drop-down area for the checklist. So if you're missing something from your checklist, it will bring that up. You can select it and it will automatically split it and assign it to that checklist. Okay. So I'm going to say page 1 to 1 is my duties owed. And then let me say that my listing agreement, let's say my residential purchase guide, RDG, residential disclosure guide, is pages 2 through 3. Of course, that's not real, just work with me on that. So we've got these documents separated. I want to go ahead and split and assign. I'm going to go to the checklist so you can see what it looks like. These are the documents that I just did. I did the duties owed and I did the RDG, so the residential disclosure guide. Okay. So it splits the documents and it puts it right into the checklist item for you. Okay. So there's lots of ways to get your documents into your checklist. You can pull them in your document folder. Again, anything without a paperclip is not attached to a checklist. To sign it, click on the box to the left of the name of the document, click on assign, click on this box, it'll give you a drop down, select the correct checklist item. Right here, I'm going to click on checklist. I'm going to go back. I'm going to show you one more time how to do it from this section. Again, it's up to your personality and what works best for you. Right here, when I clicked on attach, it's got these little documents here. These are listing all of the documents that are in your document folder there that are not attached to a checklist. Okay, so you have options to do that as well. I'm going to go ahead and hit assign. Okay, and that took care of that. I'm going to go ahead and click on attach one more time. I'm going to upload a document. I'm going to pretend I don't have it in here yet and pull that in. Again, if you've never used the system before, you're welcome to create a test transaction. Please make sure you label it as a test, so that way compliance knows that you're really just messing around with it and they're not rejecting documents, things of that nature. Okay. All right, again, so if it's a trust, you would have to have a trust document in here. If it's an LLC, your client's an LLC, you need to have their articles in here as well. So just keep all of that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and upload that. Okay. Now, I've got all my listing documentation in here, which you should have from the very beginning. You should have your duties owed first thing, your listing agreement, your MLS ER, which is when you first create your MLS. Your tax start is the tax details in the MLS, SRPD. and your wire fraud. Those are all the main required documents, and you should have those in the system, okay? You have 48 hours once you have your listing. All right, over here it says accepted contract. This is what you would select if you have a purchase contract that you're good to go with, okay? So I'm gonna click on accepted contract. This is going to now transfer it over to the transaction side of SkySlope. So right here, you're gonna notice red asterisks pretty much everywhere. Okay, the red asterisks are all required fields. You have to fill out the red asterisks to be able to move forward. Also, you're gonna notice up here, you're going to notice there's no document tab, there's no contacts, there's no commission. The big question is, where is my checklist? Where's my documentation? You have to do all of these little steps to get to the next section. And this is the same thing as if you're doing a buy side. This is exactly the same screen you're going to see. And you do have to follow the same steps. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and follow through with this here. A lot of the information is in here because it is a listing. I'm going to go ahead, if it's an MLS number, you would type in the MLS number. It is not attached to the MLS, just keep that in mind so it won't pull in information for you. Checklist type, this is really important. What you select here is going to give you the items that is required by your brokerage. So it's really important to select the correct one. I'm going to scroll down here. For your listing, if you are in Las Vegas, we have called it listing deal. Okay, so that's the one that that is the purchase side of your listing. If you're ever doing just a buy side, then you're going to do residential sale represents the buyer. Okay, all right, so I'm going to go back to listing deal. That's going to be my checklist. If you ever have questions on the type of checklist that you should select, reach out to your office manager. They should be able to help you. And Bobby in Las Vegas, Bobby can help as well. It's bobbi@signaturemb.com. Okay, so you've got your red asterisks. These are all filled in for me. Right here, I'm good to go. If you have a listing agent, you can add them there, but you should have already added them from the very beginning when you created your listing. Sales price, I got asking price, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there. Is it an office lead, yes or no? No. What's the closing date? So you can put the expected closing date. I'm going to move over here to the right now. I've got all my red asterisks here. Acceptance date, I'm going to say today. Okay. Those are my red asterisks. I can't do anything unless I have all of that done. Once I'm completed the information, I can click on next. Again, you can put in the escrow number. You can put in all of those boxes. Those are just not required by us. However, this stays in the system for seven years, so you still have access to it, and it might be a great way to go back and reference, okay? Okay, so this is a contacts tab. This is probably the least favorite of everyone, just because there's a few sections here, but right here you'll see a green check mark. These are red asterisks. These sections right here are all required. You have to get them done, okay? And then inside each section, you'll see a red asterisk. So my seller is listed already because it was our listing, and that's why we have a green check mark, okay? Right here where it says lender and home warranty, you can put these vendors in there. It doesn't hurt anything. Again, it just saves the information for 7 years. It's a great way to go back and review. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on purchaser tenant. Right here is where you put the buyer's information. I'm gonna say Jane Doe is buying this. And then you have 2 saves. I don't have a reason for it, but they do the exact same thing. So you can do save at the top or save at the bottom. Either way, it works the same. Now I've got a green check mark. I've got the next section that says title, escrow, and attorney. So some states use attorneys, some use title companies, things like that. So for the recommendation, I recommend to put it in the escrow company section. You don't have to. You can put it in the title company section, or if you have an attorney, you can put it in here as well, okay? You only need to fill out one of these three. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stay in my escrow company section. I'm gonna type in my escrow officer. I always use Laura as my, my tester. And then I'm just gonna put in a phone number. You'll notice these are all required, so you do have to put those in there. I'm gonna say Tycor. And then the email. Okay. And then again, you've got your save at the bottom and save at the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on save. I'm gonna go up here and you've got your green check mark. So I'm good to go. I'm gonna click on agent representing the other side. So who's the buyer's agent on this? I always like to use Bob. He's pretty popular. I'm gonna go ahead and put in a phone number for Bob. And then we're gonna say he works for Signature Real Estate Group. If you are on both sides of a transaction, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, you would just put your information in there as you, okay? Over here at the top, again, save, you can choose either one, makes no difference. We've got our green check marks over here. Well done. Over here on the right, you'll see the word submit now. So once you have all your green check marks, this little word will pop up, click on it, and now you're moving forward. You've got your little tabs, and now we're in our commission tab. Because it is your listing, you've already put in the commissions for each side. So you don't have to do anything else. These three items are the only required fields. You do not need to put in the TCP, other deductions. You don't have to put anything else in here. We use a commission disbursement form that we are supplying Ashley and Ashley to be able to cut the commission checks. Okay, so you're welcome to put as much as you want in here, but it's not something that she goes back and references. Okay, when you upload a W-9, maybe you have a referral. If you upload anything in this screen, what's going to happen is it's going to go into the documents folder. And I'll show you here once I get this past this section here, okay? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit submit. Let's go ahead and move on from this. Right here in your documents real quick, I should have my, oh, it's not showing. My W-9 would be here, and I believe this is the one that I just put in. I'm sorry, I should have labeled it so it'd be easier to find, but when you upload a W-9 into your commission tab, it goes into your documents folder. Okay, so checklist, again, it's the exact same thing as your listing. All you're gonna do is click on the word attach here, click on upload, find the document that you wanna pull in. Okay, and you're gonna go through the same process. If you need to remove a document, click on that X, and then it'll remove that. And you can upload again, okay? Once you're done with everything, you don't have to submit the transaction. You don't have to submit anything. It does the submission as it goes along. So your compliance officer will be reviewing documents as you go through the process, okay? Also, this little get paid now, this is a commission advance. This is not how you get paid. If you wanted to apply for a commission advance, you can do so. It's through SkySlope, and there are fees. So make sure you're fully aware of what you're doing if you're trying to do a commission advance, and your broker must approve it as well. So, okay, but you don't need to do anything like that. That is not how you get paid. All you really need to do is just put in your documentation, and then we track it from there, okay? Again, your transaction email stays the same. So if you had buyer side docs that you wanted to put in, you could go that route as well. It's the same thing in your documents tab. If you click on your documents and you want to assign them from here, click on the box to the left, click on assign. Click on this box here to give you a drop down and click on assign. There's your paper clips, okay? Okay, so I am going to show you this little tab up here. It says transaction summary. I'm a huge fan of this because this will give you a breakdown of exactly the full transaction or your listing. So I think it's a great way to keep track of who your lender was, all of this, title company. Again, if you wanted to keep track of your lender, then you would have to put that information in that little tab. but you've got all of this information to keep on file. If you choose to do so, you don't have to do anything because it stays in SkySlope. Okay. That is listings, and that's how you do a transaction as well. I'll show a quick review of actually just doing the buy side. I am going to show you what it looks like when they accept or reject a document. So let me pull up my other screen real quick. Okay. So I'm just going to, let me see what my address is, 1245. Actually, bear with me one second here. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it looks like when someone reviews or rejects a document. So your compliance will either accept it or reject a document. Once they review it, maybe you're missing an initial or something. That would make a difference as well. So let me go ahead and close that. I'm going to pretend that we're missing a check mark, page 5, and initials on page 8. Okay, so that's just all pretend, of course, but I'm going to click on save, and then I'm going to go ahead and accept these other ones. Once they're done reviewing, they're going to click on update agent. What happens with that? Let me just get rid of the screen completely. Is you will get an email from SkySlope. Let's see which one it's going to go to here. I'll check back here, but it should be in here. It's going to show you exactly what was accepted or rejected in this particular section. I wish it would pull it up real quick for you. I might have the wrong email in here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue, but let me refresh this section here so you can see what it looks like. So it'll show you green, it's been completed. When you get the email from SkySlope, it will basically be a screenshot of this, and then you'll be able to see what's been completed or what's been rejected. If it says incomplete, that means something's wrong, you need to fix it, and it will tell you off to the side what's going on. Now to fix it, you can do two different things. You can exit out, so that means you can remove it, or you can correct it and put the new one on top. What that does is it's now going to just resubmit it for review. Again, you don't have to do anything, it's going to submit it for you, and then it's going to be in review status again. What that does is it stacks the document. This is the one that I just put in. I haven't viewed it, that's why. Okay, and so they'll be able to review that and either accept it or reject it. If you have any notes to put into your compliance, or maybe just want a note regarding this particular document, maybe it's a listing agreement and you had 2 signers on your duties owed, but then you only had 1 seller on your listing agreement because of a power of attorney. Maybe something happened with the second seller or first seller, something. You could always put in that there's a power of attorney that happened on a certain date. So, and again, if you do have a power of attorney, make sure you upload those documents. You can either put them in the miscellaneous or put them with your listing agreement, something like that. So that way compliance will be able to see what's going on and why you had 2 sellers, or there's 2 sellers on title, but you only have 1 person signing. Same thing with purchase agreements, things like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the logo in the top left. That will bring you back to your home page. I'm going to go over transaction real quick, which is the buy side. It's exactly the same as if we were accepting a contract from a listing. To create a buy side, you click on Create Transaction. Again, it is Google search, so if you start typing in an address, it will pull up a drop down of listed properties. I don't want to do a Google search, so I'm going to go ahead and type in none. Remember, we've got our red asterisks. Checklist is important. If it is a buy side residential, you're going to select all the way down at the bottom, residential buyer side. New construction, let's just try new construction. This is a new build. To 2050 Test Road. I'm going to 89052. Is there a co-buyer agent? No, there is not. I'm going to go ahead and do purchaser tenant right here. Again, all these red asterisks. The big difference between this and when you do a listing and the listing transfers over is you have to put in a lot of more information because it doesn't just pull over the information from a listing. Okay, so let's say sales price is $345. Year built, let's say 2015. This was from a sign. It was not an office lead. I'm going to close by July 21st. Today's my acceptance date, and I'm going to go ahead and click on next. You will get a red error message in the top right-hand corner if you're missing any of those red asterisk items. The next section here is contacts. Again, over on the left, same thing applies. You've got these 4 red asterisks. You do have to complete each section to move forward. You'll notice the word submit is missing right here. So once we have all of those green check marks in place, we're going to be able to move forward. Seller, what's the seller's first name? Let's do John Doe. Click on save. Again, you can choose save at the top or save at the bottom. I've got my green check mark. I'm going to click on purchaser tenant. Jane Doe is buying again. She's a huge investor. That's fantastic. Click on save top or bottom. Now we've got title, escrow, attorney. Again, you can choose title, escrow, or attorney. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my escrow. I'm going to type in my Laura. Okay, and then go ahead and click on save. Here's my green check mark. Agent representing the other side. Going back to Bob. Bob's the listing agent this time. And he's from Signature Real Estate Group. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And there we go with all of our green check marks. And then our word submit appears. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now we've got commission. Again, this is a little bit different than if it was your listing pushing over. You do have to put in your percentage here. It's a 3% commission, that's great. If it's a flat fee, then you would put the flat fee here. You don't have to worry about the listing commission, and that's already taken care of by your title. Right here, does your brokerage hold earnest money? Again, you don't have to do anything here. For those of you in Las Vegas, we do not. For those of you in Alaska and Utah, then that would be yes, and you could put the amount in there. That's a great way to keep track of whether you accepted earnest money or not. Okay. Again, nothing in this is required down at the bottom. You're welcome to do as much as you'd like here, but you do have to have these items that are red asterisks. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on submit, and then you're going to notice my next checklist is right here. I've got duties of builder's contract for your protection, so there's a lot of required fields here, so you do need to put the information in here as well. Okay, you do exactly the same thing. Click on attach. Click on upload. And there we go. Same process. For those of you that are asking what the closing packet is, that is something for the office administrator to put in. Bobby usually puts that in for us when you have your commission check and your closing packet come in. And that's for Las Vegas. Okay. Again, you do not need to do anything. It submits it as it goes. The get paid now, again, is commission advance. Here's your transaction summary. There we go. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. I'm going to put this, hopefully I recorded. I'm going to put this on Agents of Signature Facebook page as long as I clicked on record. And thank you. I appreciate it. We'll have another training next week for DigiSign. Have a great weekend. Be safe.